The NFL offseason, and more specifically this offseason, has been a very active period with both free agency and trades, and I don't think it's an exaggeration to say this is the most active NFL offseason of all time. We did a video a couple of days ago on grading NFL teams' free agent signings, and within that video we did not get to all of the big ones, and on top of it there have been more big free agent signings since then, like tackle Terron Armstead to the Miami Dolphins, and defender Zadarius Smith to the Minnesota Vikings. Also, as I was recording this, Tyreek requested a trade, and the two finalists that have been named are the Dolphins and Jets, and there is a possibility he is dealt either during my recording of the video or shortly after it's posted, so I did at least want to make a note of that, but we will be diving into grading more offseason acquisitions, so without further ado, let's begin. And we are going to start today's video with the signing the Los Angeles Chargers had in corner J.C. Jackson, previously of the New England Patriots. JC has had quite the rise over the past few years, as he was an undrafted free agent back in 2018, and over the past 2 years, JC has notched 17 interceptions, and this is a rare free agent signing where I see very little wrong from either side. JC, from a personal standpoint, gets a bag and sets his family up for generations of wealth, and if he proves to be the player for the Chargers that he's been over the past 2 years, then this will be a steal, as LA gets a #1 corner, and had already improved their pass rush by adding Khalil Mack to the defense from a trade with Chicago. And the reason I say very rare where little goes wrong is because when players sign for big money in free agency, there's always a slight chance that that said player just wants the bag, and once he gets it, boom, his work is done, and it's time to be a 26, 27, or 28-year-old, or however old, chilling on the guaranteed money, and that's usually when you see the Albert Haynesworths of the world, and you get where I'm going. But with JC, this is a player who has played his entire NFL career with Bill Belichick as his head coach, and even won a Super Bowl during his rookie season, and he has walked the fine line over the past 2 years of being a star player, and also has had a winning pedigree. And I do think it's fair to say LA's pass rush will be better this year than what New England's had over the past 2 years. Not to say New England's bad, but I do like LA's more this year than what they've had, and that's assuming they stay healthy. And it is also worth noting LA has a very good safety in Derwin James to help JC's transition ease into the defense. At the end of the day, LA is getting a very good corner, and somewhat of an underrated corner at that, for $16.5 million per year, with just 40 of it being guaranteed. And for a team that is on a Super Bowl push with a superstar of a quarterback in Justin Herbert for the time being, who is getting paid pennies on the dollar, this is a win for both sides. LA has done everything right in terms of pushing for a Super Bowl title with a quarterback on the rookie scale, and they even protected themselves within this signing if things go bad, which I do not anticipate they do. A #1 corner and a great pass rush goes together like bacon and eggs, and an A+ signing grade for JC Jackson and the LA Chargers. And next is Terron Armstead to the Miami Dolphins, and while I do like this signing for Miami, I do not like it as much as JC Jackson to the Chargers, and here's why. If Terron plays all 5 years, and that's a big if, because this is very similar to the Von Miller contract with the Buffalo Bills, where everyone initially freaked out because of the 6-for-120 deal, and what you need to know is Von's deal will more than likely never reach that, and the same can more than likely be said for Armstead. To be clear, I like the signing, I just don't love it because of the guarantees within the contract, which is $43 million. Ultimately, that's what matters most, and for what it's worth, most NFL contracts in today's world are in reality 2 to 3 year deals, usually at maximum, and what scares me a little bit for Miami is Terron will be 31 years old at the start of the 2022 season, meaning for this 3-year deal, he will be 33 in 2024, and why this scares me is because Terron has never played a full season in his career. Not once. It's not even me nitpicking here, it's unfortunately a fact for the big fella. But we all can acknowledge he is an absolute beast when healthy and when on the field, and the Dolphins needed offensive line help in the worst way. And now Miami does not have a first-round pick this year because while I was making this video, Tyreek was traded to the Dolphins, so if you're here from the beginning, now I will address this at the end of the Terron segment. But Terron is ultimately a player who has never played a full year, and barring some medical miracle, will probably not change with age, especially in the trenches. And if Tyron can be the player he is at his peak and play for 14 or more games a year every year, then I like this signing. But with the facts being what they are, never a full 16-game season, let alone an added 17th, I'm not a huge fan of the contract. Now, for Tyreek. In real time, this was done about 10 to 15 minutes ago, but my initial reaction is the Chiefs fleeced them as they received 5 draft picks and they have an offense that is very, very receiver friendly. So for them to receive a 2022 first, second, fourth, and next year's fourth and sixth from the Dolphins for a player who is now 28 and quickly approaching 30, and what we would, again, unfortunately this is part of the NFL, but what we expect at some point for Tyreek's borderline Olympic speed to go, this is a terrific haul for Kansas City. Again, I credit the Dolphins for having a similar approach to the Chargers with putting everything you can around your rookie contract quarterback, but we know Tua is not Justin Herbert. Now, for what it's worth in the Mike McDaniel offense, I do expect Tyreek to be more than a receiver, and for him to not necessarily say as much of a Deebo Samuel role, but I do expect Tyreek to take handoffs and be very involved with the offense as they gave up a shit ton for him, and I do not expect Tyreek to be strictly a receiver. Next up is Za'Darius Smith to the Minnesota Vikings, and entering this offseason, GM Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah had a huge decision to make, and it was either do essentially what the Atlanta Falcons are doing right now and commit to a full rebuild, or go all in for a Super Bowl run, and he has chose the latter. Had they chose the full rebuild, no one would have really blamed him because Aaron Rodgers is a 2-time defending MVP, and the division rival Packers have went to the NFC Championship game and the divisional round of the playoffs in back-to-back years, and then a pretty good player in Tampa Bay, you might know him, he's also returning now. And there's also a large chunk of the Vikings fan base that hates Kirk Cousins. But here we are, and they go out and get a double whammy of a free agent in Za'Darius Smith, who is a good pass rusher, and a player who Vikings fans are very, very familiar with. Smith completely wrecked a game against them back in 2019 and had 9 pressures and 3.5 sacks, and was a large reason the team was held to 10 points, and a large reason why Green Bay won that Monday night game. It also secured the division for Green Bay that year. But pairing Za'Darius with Danielle Hunter is a tremendous move, as in the videos shown of Big Z signing with the Vikings, he looked like he genuinely wanted to be there and was happy to be a new member of the team. And you would think that eliminates the possibility of the Vikings drafting a pass rusher at number 12 overall, unless somehow, someway Kayvon Thibodeau would make it there, which I highly doubt he does, to be clear, but he's had quite the draft fall as of late. But Za'Darius goes from a division rival to the Vikings even after backing out of the Ravens deal, and Minnesota signs him to a 3-year deal in what is their Super Bowl window. They do not have a lot of players coming up to pay. The only one that may happen next year is tight end Irv Smith, and obviously there's the thought of Justin Jefferson, but when that time comes, the money will be there for him, and Za'Darius would be going on 33 years old and may not even be on the roster at that point. This is a win-win as you get help at a position of need, take him from a division rival, and get closer to hoisting a Lombardi trophy by making this move. An A+ signing for Minnesota. Davante Adams was traded to the Raiders, and the Raiders fan base is not the most fond of me at the moment because I suggested they should blow it up and rebuild, and no joke, within 3 days of that, they traded for Davante Adams and signed Chandler Jones. So credit to them for keeping up with the rest of the division, but this is not a segment for me to try and make amends with the Raiders fan base. This is a segment on acquiring, in my opinion, the best receiver in all of football. Davante is at his peak right now, and on top of it is boys with the Raiders franchise quarterback in Derek Carr, and I cannot praise them enough for making this move. You need help at the receiver position. Well, let's go ahead and give up a first and second in a draft where we're selecting 22nd overall and will not get the best receiver because he will be long gone by then, whoever you deem that receiver to be. And what's a second round pick for a player who is playing at a Hall of Fame level right now versus trading a first round pick and a second round pick to move up from the said 22nd overall pick to 8 or 9 or wherever to draft a receiver who, by the way, has never played an NFL down. This is truly one of the best moves the Raiders could have possibly made, and while we all know the NFL is a business, and a lot of the times we see NFL players at their worst, as whenever players get cut, I mean, they're losing part of their childhood dream, and that's coming to an end. But this was a rare opportunity where we get to see a receiver and quarterback reunite and both be genuinely happy they get to play together again. And for that reason, we give the Davante Adams trade an A+. And with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, now is the time I ask you to please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because it would truly mean the world. And until next time, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.